to rethink, to reflect,
Yes.
to focus, and bring out the answers in you because you have the potential. And what basically worked for me does not necessarily
Have to work
for you.
Yes.
So my work as a coach is to support you through a questioning process. And as you answer those questions, you start saying, actually, I hadn't looked at that.
Yes, yes.
And therefore, by the time we leave a session, it's actually you who goes to implement what you said you should do. While it is not, so the agenda is yours.
Yes.
You run the show. While in mentorship, the mentor runs the show. Do you start to get the difference?
And how's that the difference, isn't it? That for you to mentor somebody, you have to be into their line of doing things,
Exactly.
isn't it? Because you cannot pretty much mentor somebody if you don't understand what it is that they're going through.
Yes.
But on a life coach, isn't it? You're pretty much sort of, can I say, inspiring me to,
Yes,
self-evaluate.
You can, and it is true.
Yes.
Because I don't even need to be in your space. I don't have to have done what you're doing.
Yes.
For instance, if you came to me and what you wanted was you want to run for office. I've never run for office, but I can hold for you that space for you to come and think with no criticism, a place where somebody is really listening and
Yes.
questioning you to help you think through what you need to do
Yes.
to run for office.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, Mercy, this is a question that I really want to ask, and everybody really would get interested in knowing exactly how to get along. When you look at Kenya news, isn't it? Is life coaching and mentoring a pertinent issue that really need to be looked at on a deeper level? And how can we impact the Kenya news using just mentoring and life coaching? And also when you talk about success for any person, whether you're in business or whether you're into something else, how is life coaching and mentoring, let's talk numbers, which numbers can you assign into that?
Well, let me just start by saying, number one, you've asked me very many questions together. So
Yes.
let me start with the ones I remember. Number one, coaching is for everyone.
Yes.
Everyone. I know some people have thought it's for executives, but it runs across the board.
Yes.
Because a parent needs to know how to parent. A student needs to know how to behave as a student. People who are leaving universities need to know how to enter the job market. Everybody needs coaching. And on the same aspect, I would say everybody needs a mentor. Because why go to make the same mistake that I made if I can prevent you by telling you what I did
Yes.
differently as your mentor?
Yes.
So you can leapfrog further rather than starting where I began. So those two aspects are needed by everybody. So I am always on the crusade of telling everybody needs a mentor.
Yes.
Identify a mentor in your life and have structured conversations with that person.
Yes.
Now going back to the youth factor in Kenya. I was seeing somewhere, I think we have 500 people coming into the job market every year.
Yes.
And we're creating like 150 jobs per year.
Yes.
So that is 350 people left out there, which is a big problem because that stands around 26%, which is quite high even in the world factor, in
Yes.
the world statistics. But looking at it, Simba, I would say that there is no one solution for all these things. I heard you mention the agenda 4, but I think it's starting all the way even from schools. And looking at the future of work. I know many countries are grappling with the future of work. Do you know people who are entering schools like right now, by the time they're entering the job market, 65% of the jobs that we know of would not be in existence.
Yes.
So again, what are we doing around that space to make sure people are not going to learn things that by the time they get into the job market, it's obsolete?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And again, when I said about everybody needing coaching, then it also begins, what do the teachers know? Are
Yes.
they just having, I know the government is doing some work with the new curriculum and all, but do the teachers even know where the future is at? Are we teaching critical thinking? Are we teaching innovativeness? co-creation. And all these things require some form of coaching, because somebody has to listen, to identify what skills you have, to develop those skills, so that when you come into the job market, and I'm not even talking about the ones who are already there, because that's a whole problem by itself. By the time you get there, you have the skills to allow you to enter a job market that you do not know how it will look like, because you will be having 6, 7 careers, I don't know how many. So what you need is the skills to allow you to be versatile, agile, flexible, that you can be in a gig group today, and tomorrow you're contracting on something different. So there is no, what they keep on saying, silver bullet for the problem.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, you've been in a program, and let me just talk about the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program, and you've interacted with these youth. Just give me a brief background of this program, and then you can tell me, from the interactions that you had with these youth, what are these key issues that you found are synonymous among these youth in the country, and what really needs to be done to that side?
That's a good one. Now, number one, the youth in this country are brilliant, and they are passionate for the things they want to do. So this program is still funded by the USA government, and basically what it does, it takes leaders from Africa. It's actually sub-Saharan Africa, takes them to America for 6 weeks of leadership training, exposes them to different ways of doing things, and ethics and behavior change and all that, and then they come back to the continent to continue with what they were doing. You see, when they're taken, they are already doing something. They are either middle managers, they are running their own business. So it's simply accelerating those leadership skills that are already in existence in the person.
Yes.
Now, when they come back to the continent, of course, some will continue doing what they were doing. Others go and completely change everything, because they realize this is not where my passion lies.
I see now, isn't it?
Yeah. This is just the job I got when...
So that exposure part and your mind getting open into opportunities, isn't it? Yes, that are available around your environment.
Yes.
Yes.
And the networking, don't forget that bit.
Yes.
You network with people who've done things that you might never even have thought of. And the program says you must have a mentor. But you have to apply, because I can't force a mentor on you. So by applying for a mentor, this is a person who, let me use the word funnels, helps you funnel all these ideas and things you want to do, to prioritize them, so that you come and narrow down on something and put your energies on that. And I would say that it really impacted many of them. The ones who want to be impacted by the program have been impacted, and they're doing wonderful things in this continent.
Yes.
And we're hoping to be, we have some of them, we've seen people appointed, like in some countries in the Prime Minister's office. We have in Tanzania where they've ran for office.
Yes.
Some in Kenya have actually ran for office. So we're hoping to see them also getting into the leadership space, not just in the private sector, but also in the public sector, because we need a different kind of a leader.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mercy, this is also another question that everybody, I know you've mentioned about it, you've really sort of highlighted on it. Because if we look at the youth in this country, let's talk about the age of 19 to 35.
Yeah.
They're in the job market, they're into the business market, and then you find that things are not working out for them, isn't it? And so you have a program like your program that sort of talks to them and tells them you need to open up your mind into opportunities and get into places that you wouldn't have really known about. Then I was speaking to one fellow last week here on Business AM, and I told him, are we at risk, when you talk about these programs, are we at risk of targeting the people who pretty much don't need these programs that we have for them? Because if you look at developing economy, you're going to find that people have not been educated. There are so many. People with college dropouts. There are so many. People who don't have money to take them to school or give them a good education for them to get into a business or for them to get into a leadership role. There are so many.
That's true.
And so how do we account for those that statistics that favor them getting into these programs don't support? Do we just forget them? And would you say that that is the biggest issue that we really need to look at when it comes to developing countries and our youth, even as we talk about mentorship and coaching?
That's a huge one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody is grappling with that. What we did on the Mandela Washington Fellowship is, one, it was online application, which again, people keep on saying in rural areas there's no internet.
You see now that, Mercy? You see? You know?
Yes.
And so you have this youth who will probably be a very big person just because they live in an area where I just wake up and I'm not seeing a computer or internet. Then I'm locked out.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things we did is, with the partners, we would have the youth who are willing. I'm not saying it will be as easy as a Nairobi person, but the ones who are really willing in the local areas, we would create awareness of who are our partners on the ground. So, for instance, if Metropole TV was one of our partners in some rural area, they would come to your offices and you supply them with 2-3 computers where they can apply from. That way, they don't have to go to some cafe where they maybe can't even afford to pay for the internet, or the internet is up and down. But so we create supportive environment for them to apply if they are willing to apply. And you know, I mean, those are the forms which you can still continue applying for in different days, and it keeps on saving, so you can do up to a third today, go home and come back and continue tomorrow, whichever way you want, as long as you're within the deadline. But those are things I know have brought a lot of issues in many programs, but we keep on talking about inclusivity and making sure that there's this tagline, no one is left behind.
No one is left behind.
Yes. But again, are the frameworks in place in all these things? And I like the idea of the Huduma centers. I think we are slowly but surely getting there. That somebody with the grit and resilience can access these services nowadays. But let's just agree, it's not the same for everyone. Some have to work a little bit harder.
A little bit harder than other people, isn't it? And even information flow, then you realize that there's some regions when you want to factor information flow and make somebody realize, I need this because of A, B, C, D. Then you gotta work a little harder and change your strategies to get to that base level youth. Who needs it more than this youth up here, but because now of that barrier and demographics, and you find that you're not getting to them, isn't it?
And remember, devolution came, which is supposed to, I mean, it's taken more services to the people. Devolution has its issues, but again, it has also taken it's also taken a lot of services to mashinani. So what I would say is, for me, is this youth in the mashinani place needs to understand also he has some disadvantages, and therefore what does he need to do as a person, even as everybody else, whether the government, the private sector, the development world is working towards including him and bringing equity. What is he also doing extra to make sure he
push himself or herself to this level that we're talking about, isn't it?
And and that's where now maybe even how like me and you, when we go to our mashinani, if we visit do we visit our local primary schools where we went to school? Maybe you went to Nairobi.
No, actually no.
Do we go to the secondary schools we went to inspire
these youth, isn't it? To realize that yes, there's an outside there,
and it can be done.
It can be done.
I did it. You can do it. Are we doing that? Are you in some board of governors in a village? It's called board of management in some village school?
Some village or some part of a group in a village somewhere, isn't it? And this way, therefore, you start to bridge this gap of information flow and realizing there's an outside there, isn't it? I just because we're running out of time this morning, I just want us to get into this last point that I want us to talk about. This morning, we've just realized that the hatcheries that were supposed to be distributed to the youth in the country, that is from 2002, they've lied somewhere for 17 years now, up to 2019, without getting to them. Now, since 17 years, what they've done is that they're now obsolete. I know you've been in boards where you're managing grants, you know, to this youth. And when we're talking about this information flow, therefore, and once you coach a youth to some level, you need to get them jump-started, which is one biggest need for youth in this country. What would you say is the best way possible to manage grant kitties that are supposed to help the youth in this country of Kenya? Because with news like this, therefore, Mercy, 17 years down the line, now they have to get disposed of because they are obsolete. These issues that we're talking about, isn't it? That yes, we are coaching and mentoring them, but now after we are ready, we need to make that step, isn't it?
Of course.
Yes. How would you go about proper management of these issues? Do we still say, let's just provide the money and give it to the county governments, and then they will give it to them? Or is there a proper way that you have seen that these grants will get to the baseline youth that we're talking about?
Just to comment on the hatcheries,
Yes.
that is appalling.
It's appalling.
We are always feeling so taxed.
Yes.
And I don't think anybody feels good when they hear that money is just going to waste. It's really a sad state of affairs. But going back to grants, what I would say is there is no, it's not just an idea of let's just give them money. The problem is not always money, number one. A grant can be in form of technical skills.
Yes.
Because we've taken it to mean that they must have access to finance. Who told you it is all finance they need? So for me, I would say if you really want the grant to be successful, because implementation is where the issues are. We all know that the devil is always in the
details. Now let's do this, let's put it into use, isn't it? Yes.
So if you're putting a grant together for the youth, number one, it's understanding who the youth are and what their needs are. So that, for instance, you will be asked to do a proposal, right? Do these people know how to do a proposal? So then shouldn't we put measures in place that you can come and sit in our office and help you, or even give you at least a template on how to go and do a proposal? Mm-hmm. Because even people of my age, some of them ask them to do proposals. We are defeated. Now you're asking somebody who left fourth form to go form some group or something, come and do a proposal. It's difficult to do that kind of thing. So for me, it's putting like 360-degree around grants from how do we start? What do we need from these people, the millennials? Number one, have we even thought about what work they want to do? Have we asked them? So that when they come with some digital work that we can't understand, we will not say no to the grant because we don't understand. But that is what they want to do. The economy is moving towards the digital age. Mm-hmm. We're talking about gig work, we're talking about contracts, temporary jobs. Are we putting those in place so that you can put a grant in place, but you cannot access even the funds because you don't want to do what they want you to do. So there is that. After they access the funds, again, what help do we give with that? Do we help them in capacity building, in managing what they said they were going to do? Do we work with them step by step so that they can repay these grants, as opposed to just give them money, come back later where are the repayments? Then you're literally putting them up to fail. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's putting a framework in place that supports them every step of the way, because it's for success purposes. It's for success, isn't it? Yes, that's what we should have in mind at the end of it.
Introduce a frame that is supposed to help them
succeed
to the right end. Mercy, thank you very much for coming.
It's over.
It's over. I can't believe it. It's been 30 minutes. That's how you know that the conversation was really interesting. That's how you know that we were talking about issues that are really pertinent to the youth in this country. Guess what? It's your first time. You're going to come back again.
Thank you.
You're going to come back again, and probably this next time, more time, isn't it?
That's what we need. That's what we need.
Best as I am ends right about now. See you at 1 p.m. for Metropole TV News. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kia. Good morning.